What's going on, guys? Welcome to another one of Black Iron's battles. Today we've got a Total War Warhammer 1 versus 1 quick battle for you guys. And I was gonna try to record it live, but I guess my OBS messed up on me. So since it was such a great battle though, I definitely wanted to show it to you guys, so I had to do a Battlecast. So right off the bat, you'll see I'm leading the Chaos Hordes here against the Greenskin WAAAGH. So here you see it. That for my legendary lord, I've taken a Chaos Lord on top of a Wyvern. So if you add that and you add Foe Seeker, it makes him very fast, and then he gets over 100 speed, and then you add Filth Mace, which will lower the enemy's speed and damage and adds your own damage. So if you use that together, normally you can do a ton of damage with that Chaos Lord. And then over here on the left, you'll see I have brought the Chaos Sorcerer with the Lore of Death. And besides, I've brought Spirit Leech, and I've also brought the Fate of Buna. So the Fate of Buna is definitely great to use against some, Orc Boy Biggins, or you can use Spirit Leech on his heroes. So those are, just really effective ways to use your magic when you're playing against a Greenskin opponent. Here, hiding in the forest, you see we've got these Chaos Warhounds with poison, although you'll notice that they're actually not hidden. And that's because the Greenskin guy does have these Mogrubs, Mangy Marauders here in the front, and I believe that they're maybe detecting them. I'm not 100% sure, because it looked to me like we were fully in the clear, but it does not look like they're hidden. So for my front line, I've brought mixed in Chaos Warriors with great weapons, which are just those super strong Chaos Warriors. They've got 100 armor, 38 armor piercing weapon damage, and mixed in with them is these Chaos Marauders with great weapons, which I've given a couple of chevrons each. I just wanted to buff them up, and I thought that if we mixed them in there, they're a little bit cheaper, and it would make my front line a lot more numerous. So hopefully they'll be getting the hits on these Chaos Marauders and not on these Chaos Warriors. For my flanks, just like almost always, you'll see I've got the Chaos Warriors with halberds. I definitely always like to have some spear units on the flanks, especially against the Greenskins, because they do have those Boy Biggins. You've also see I do have some aspiring champions mixed in here. I like to get them here in the middle, so their aura gives leadership to all these units around them. So because I knew that my heroes and champions would be up in the air, I wanted to bring these aspiring champions to give an aura to keep my units fighting. Here in the back to do the heavy hits, even though they don't have a lot of defense, is these Demon Spew and a regular Forsaken. And these Demon Spew, these are one of my favorite new Chaos units. These guys have they've got 53 attack, and it's poison. They've got frenzy. They've got tons of weapon strength. They're just overall badasses. So those are that's my army. And over here, right off the bat, you'll see I already mentioned he's got these Mangy Marauders right here in the front. Those are those armor-piercing Wolf Rider archers. They're my favorite Wolf archers. I don't really feel like the other ones are worth it, but those Mogrubs can do a lot of damage. Now, he's got them right up there in front, so he should be able to get quite a few attacks off on me before I'm able to do anything, since I don't actually have any ranged units. Here for his front line, you'll see he's got a group of Biggins. He's also got some Night Goblins. Those are the 8-peak Loonies, I think, because they've got that special ranged weapon. He's also got two groups of Black Orcs here, and you'll see that they've got 2 chevrons in them. So those are buffed up Black Orcs. Those are going to be a lot of trouble for me. I think, luckily, I do have all those great weapons, so we should be able to cut them down. Here for his archers, he does have the Rusty Arrows and the 2 groups of Goblin Archers. I think that is just becoming the de facto Greenskin firing line. And, we just know how much damage they can do if we get them focused, since the Rusty Arrows will do that armor sundering and increase the effectiveness of these Goblin Archers. Here in the back, you'll see that he's got another group of Biggins in reserve, and they may be protecting this Hammer of Gork, so that'll be able to do a lot of damage to me. That Hammer of Gork, I mean, I've got all infantry units, so I better keep them spread out, or else I'm going to be in for some major pounding. Here in the back, you see he's got Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Those are always kind of a one-off for me. Some people can use them. I always have a hard time, but they will provide like a fodder unit, and they can get in front and poison for these 2 groups of Orc Boy Biggins. So the Broken Tusk Mob is over here. They've made an appearance. They're the Regiment of Renown Greenskin. I mean, look at them. They look so cool. They're carrying those spears. We got the second group over here, and I mean, if you put these 3 units together, this will slow and break the charge, and these units will just do dominating damage. So before I talk too much longer, let's go ahead and get back here to the beginning, and let's go ahead and see how it goes. So right off the bat, you'll see he has got these Mogrubs coming right up in the front. Since I don't have any ranged units, there's not a lot I'm going to be able to do against it. Right off the bat, you'll see some arrows. They start landing in, and since I mean we don't have shields, they're gonna do some damage. You see that? They've already killed a couple of models, and so you know, as those arrows fly over that hill, they're gonna kill quite a few units from this group of Chaos Marauders. But lucky for me, they're not targeting the Chaos Warriors. So that is kind of what I was hoping for when I've got these groups of fodder units. And he's gonna have to get out of there before I actually catch him and send those Marauders off, because they are not able to do much of anything in melee. Now the first thing I do is I grouped up my leader and my lord, and I definitely shot right off the bat a spirit leech right on Azhag. So I figure if I could get a spirit leech off, and then I could get a charge going in here. He's got foe seeker on the chaos lord. I mean, that collision, look at that double wyvern collision. I mean, he is taking some heavy damage, and he's having to pop everything he's got just to stay alive. But you see a big problem for me. Somehow when I was pathing, I got a whole bunch of units grouped up over here. So these units should actually be heading here, and I'm gonna have to correct that, or else I'm gonna take heavy hits from that hammer of Gork. Luckily for me, I'm still on top of Azhag, and I'm only taking minimal fire from this goblin firing line. I think because we're spinning around so quickly, and he's got his firing line kind of spread out, it takes him a little bit longer to react than it typically would. So finally, my infantry is getting up here, and you'll see that they're charging in, and oh man, I am going to take some heat, some Fata Buna or something. I believe that's Fata Buna. But I mean, at that point, I was able to actually get on top of Azhag and do a lot more damage. So he's got about 156 health. And I'm going to go ahead and leave my Chaos Sorcerer to chase him off. And I'll be bringing my Chaos Lord back before too much longer. Over here on the left, you'll see I did have my Chaos Warhounds. We had them engaged here on this broken Tusk Mob. And they are going to get a good number of kills. But he did bring those Forest Goblin Spider Riders in, and so they have poison, and they're gonna these broken Tusk Mob and the second group of Boar Boys, they should be able to do a ton of damage over here on the left flank, and they'll send my Chaos Warhounds off before too long. There in the back, you'll see it looks like I used my Chaos Lord to chase off Azhag, and I brought my Chaos Sorcerer of Death in here. I'm dropping it on the Marauders, and but the main thing here is look at this group of Chaos Warriors. These goblins have been firing on them, and they have taken him down from 100% down to like, a quarter health in no time. So that was just a huge loss on my part. Those halberds took tons of damage, and this cheap goblin firing line was able to take out those halberds right off the field. Over here on the right, though, we have beaten those biggins, and the night goblins, I think the 8-peak loonies, they're going to start folding down too, because we've got a ton of damage here with these Chaos Warriors with halberds, these great weapons, and the aspiring champions. They're not going to be able to withstand that. Unluckily for me, I've got these Chaos Warriors routing off, we've got Chaos Warhounds routing off, and I'm taking some major damage. But luckily, I did actually manage to use my Chaos Lord to rout off these Mogrub's Marauders. And I had also, since I got rid of Azhag, they're going to be already starting to take some major leadership hits. But look at that huge volley of arrows. I should not have let my Chaos Sorcerer of Death get in there. And, I mean, he's routed off the field in 2 volleys. So, I mean, those Goblin Archers, for their costs, are just able to do a ton of damage if they can focus on the same unit. You see, we are going to start charging in here. The broken Tusk Mob and these Boar Boy Biggins are getting in here. And there's just battles all over the place. Luckily for me, since I still have my Legendary Lord, I was able to charge in the back. And that's going to rout off these group of Black Orcs and this group of Boar Biggins. So because I was able to rout them off, the terror of my Chaos Lord on the Wyvern, as well as being able to use my potions now, I'm back up to full health, and I actually did manage to get off a one spell on top of the Night Goblin Shaman there when I was getting away, and you see there he actually blows himself up. So he is now routing. He's only got 200 health left, and that is just it's awful. I'm not sure what he used because I didn't see any spells on him in the replay, but he definitely, I don't know if it was I'm just not sure what happened there. But I am bringing my Chaos Lord in. You see, we've got some Forsaken that are returning to the battle. And I mean, this is just an awesome, awesome fight. It's going all over. There's still a few of these Night Goblins left, but luckily I do have a whole group of Chaos Warriors with halberds here in reserve. Look at all those archers. I was trying to get on these boar boys with this group of Chaos Poison Warhounds, but those archers are just being a nasty threat. Here you see he has gotten this, I mean, this Hammer of Gork is still firing. And if I don't take it out before too long, I'm going to be in for some major problems. So you see here, I've got the Chaos Lord up, and I'm going to have him charge right in. I did want to have him go to the Hammer of Gork, but I also really want to get rid of these Rusty Arrows. So I'm tired of having my my armor lowered by them. And I knew that if I charged the Chaos Lord in there, they'd probably break. Luckily for me, he did bring in the Boar Boy Biggins, and I was able to get these Chaos Warriors with halberds on there. So besides that, I was able to pop the Filth Mace, and I'm just going to cause heavy damage right here to everything that's around. Over here on the left, the numbers are beginning to tell. So this group of Black Orcs and this Broken Tusk Mob are all starting to rout off the field. The Aspiring Champions and Chaos Warriors with great weapons are really starting to win the day. We are just getting tons of damage all over the place, and since his leadership is off, he's going to have all sorts of problems with his leadership. Yeah, since his lords are routed off, he's going to have all sorts of trouble with his leadership. Now, if you look over here on the left, these Chaos Warriors with halberds, they're going to get right into this group of Goblin Archers. We're starting to rout everything off with this Chaos Lord. And, I mean, there's just nothing really left that's going to be able to do major damage to these big units like this. Over here on the left, you'll see here that, I mean, we are just bringing all of our routing units back into the fold. You'll see that we've got, you know, these Chaos Warriors with great weapons. The Aspiring Champions are still fighting, but we are able to charge into the back here with these halberds, and since they return to the fight and they flank these units, they are going to break. So besides that, the Boar Boy Biggins are down. They've gotten killed by these halberds. And, you know, Black Orcs, everyone's pretty much gone. They're just taking huge amounts of army losses, and without their leadership, they're going to go down quick. So that was a great game. It was really close, but let's go ahead and take a look at the post-game wrap-up. So if you see here, I did take 622 losses to his 583. So luckily for me, I did bring a bunch of extra units here, so they did take a ton of heat. So if we look here, the Chaos Lord was able to get 73 kills. Flying around on that Wyvern, he was able to get in, kill some Marauders, he was able to get on Azhag, he was able just to do a ton of work all over the place. The Chaos Sorcerer of Death, unluckily for me, I took a bunch of heavy heat from this Goblin firing line he had, and so even, you know, I was able to really do what I wanted with him though, which was take out the leadership. He was able to, you know, just do all sorts of damage with that Lore of Death. If you look here, the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, they performed pretty well, 86 and 64 here, so that was pretty good. The halberds really saved the day. They were able to come in there with tons of health left, but this group was actually routed off by those arrows again. So luckily the Demon Spew was able to get in and kill a bunch of arrows. So it was, you know, that was, you know, where they got these 88 kills, and it was just overall, it was just a great game. I was able to keep the Aspiring Champions fighting, but the Chaos Poison Warhounds are the one thing I wish I would have done better. I should have held them off a little bit longer and brought them in the back to try to take out the Hammer of Gork or some of these archers. Now, if we look here at my opponent, MB Lee, if we look at his team, I mean, this is the big problem. The Shaman and Azhag both knocked out early. The 8-peak Loonies were able to get 30 kills, but over there on the right, they weren't able to be victorious, which lost them that flank. The major kills were done here by the Black Orcs, 113 and 83, but a lot of that was on these Chaos Marauders, which luckily for me did not cost nearly as much, and were able to actually do some damage. So if we look at the Broken Tusk Mob with the Orc Boar Boys, I mean, they were all able to get a ton of kills. I did have 622 losses, and I really think if he had kept his leadership in play, if the results may have been flip-flopped, and I would have probably lost this field. But it was a great game to my opponent, MB Lee 2020. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really love seeing the views, and if you guys have any comments or any theme armies or any specific builds you'd like to see me play, just leave it in the comments below. If this is your first time, please subscribe, and thank you guys all so much for watching. This is Black Iron, and this has been another one of Black Iron's Battles.